Hey guys, welcome to this week's recap of the Real Housewives of New Jersey, episode 11. I smell a rat, okay? So the girls are rallying in Ireland. And these girls, all they want to do is shots, do a tequila and some beers. So these girls, they want to get into a drinking contest with the locals. And I'm like, Ireland, I would think it's known for, drinking the booze and being able to hold down their liquor. But we get a scene with Jack. I actually like seeing Jackie in her moment. This is Jackie in her moment. And she is challenging the locals to chug a beer. And I'm like, not Jackie challenging the locals and winning the contest. I thought she really did that. She really did the damn thing. And I feel like this was the highlight for me, for Jackie in this episode. Damn, that girl don't play. So Teresa, she's not really with all the drinking. She's actually the one who wants tequila and pineapple. She's not really a pub girl. And I'm like, okay, I'm with you. I don't think I'm a pub girl either. But, the way they were drinking the Guinness, it looked like it was so tasty. So, I don't know. I feel like she missed that moment. I think, Teresa, you could have more fun on your bachelorette party. Girl. So, Jennifer, she chugs the beer in the most delicate way, I like the rawness with Jennifer Aiden. Jennifer Aiden, she's going to be in the moment that she's in. She is not shy from a new experience. So she chugs the beer in the most delicate way, and then she burps, and she was like, excuse me. But I like how the girls were having fun. And, Jen Foster, she gets into this, beer chugging contest with other locals. And I'm like, this girl is getting it all over her shirt. I'm like, no, Jen Fessler, not on your shirt. This is not a wet t-shirt contest. But I feel like Jen Fessler, she's such a fun gal. I think that this whole episode, I would have rated maybe 7.9, with the highlights being from Jen Fessler. Jen Fessler, she was a 10, baby. She was the one who made this show, okay? So the girls are having fun and they all are getting along. So this is what it took for Dolores to take these girls out drinking for them to get along. I'm like, they just need to just drink. So they leave and they get into the party bus to head back home. And the girls are all having fun. They're bonding and they're like, oh, they're so hyper. Then within 30 minutes, they fall fast asleep. And guys, it's just time for bed. The girls had a night. They need some sleep. They need some Z's. But I was hoping at this moment, okay, these girls are getting along, so maybe the rest of the trip will be good. But the next day, y'all, the next morning, it was, oh my gosh. So Melissa, she wakes up and she goes over to Margaret's room. And she says that, she couldn't sleep all night. I'm like, Melissa, why couldn't you sleep? And she is like, these paintings on these walls were just looking at her. She had to take down a few paintings. And I don't blame her. I felt like I would have taken steps, like maybe put a cloth over the painting. But, I hate the feeling that you're being watched at night. And, I can completely understand Melissa. And I would not be sleeping in an old castle comfortably. I just can't imagine. So I felt her for that situation. So the girls, they all meet downstairs for breakfast. And, the breakfast was not, it wasn't like traditional breakfast. It was, of course, Ireland's traditional breakfast. So it wasn't sausages like how we think of sausages here in America. It was like sausages made out of blood. And that's a bit heavy for breakfast for me. So the girls are fascinated with that. So when all the girls are downstairs and Margaret, she comes down and she is wearing her endorsed sweater shirt, possibly now available on the Margaret's website. So I thought that was hilarious. Jennifer, she took nod to it. She's like, oh, that's an interesting shirt. And Marge, she's like, I'll get you a copy of this shirt. Don't worry. And Jennifer, she made some comments saying, oh, look at her headlights, like meaning look at her boobs. And in her confessional, Jennifer really went in on Marge's body. And I felt like, girl, that's not necessary. Don't do that. And I just hope Marge doesn't end up getting like surgery for that or feels a certain type of way. I didn't like this comment at all. But she went in about her boobies. And I felt like, girl, just leave the boobies alone. Jennifer was roasting Margaret in her confession. I'm like, girl, you don't need to do that. You don't need to do that. So Rachel, she was saying to the girls how she had a great time with Danielle. And, apparently they're now like, okay. But, Melissa, she says she can't sit here in the table hearing how Rachel's going on, how great she's bonding with Danielle without telling what Danielle said. So Melissa decides to share how Danielle called Rachel a rat. And, Jennifer, she was saying, kind of giving an excuse to it, saying that, it's because you go ahead and you told everybody what she said to Marge. And, calling Rachel a rat, and all the girls are like, a rat? And it's as if they used the forbidden word. Everyone was so gagged, so shocked, so confused. Nothing showed much more confusion than Rachel's face. Rachel's face, she was like shocked that it even came out of these girls' mouths. Like, you really called me a rat, Rachel the rat? Like, no. Not for alliteration. Like, Rachel the rat? No. And ironic enough, that's the time where Danielle comes down for breakfast. I'm like, Danielle, you always find the most interesting time to come into a scene. And what a way to come into a scene. So she comes into the scene and she wants to fix her a plate of food. And, Danielle, she comes in and she's like, good morning. Good morning, ladies. Good morning, girls. And she's all cheery and happy looking at the food to fix her plate. And, Danielle, she's looking at the food sideways, as I would too as well. She's like, what is this? What is this? Calling out the food. And Rachel is like, it's rat blood. And I'm like, damn. The girl didn't sit down for food yet to eat. Let her eat. Let her, she already had her morning pee, as, what's her name? Chanel Ayan would say in Real Housewives of Dubai. She said, let me have my first pee. Let Danielle have her first bite of food, a little sip of coffee before y'all rip into her. And so they get into it, y'all. They get into it, and Danielle, she stands by what she said. She said that, what her and Rachel was doing was coffee talk, which means they should have just stayed at the table, and Rachel didn't have to go and run and tell the other ladies what she said. And, Marge, she's upset because she feels like she's been nothing but kind to Danielle. She even offered Danielle help with her business, and that, it's crazy that she would say that, oh, Marge have things in her arsenal about these girls. But, Danielle, she stands on what she says. She stands 10 toes on what she says. She says that she believes that Marge has infos on her friends. And, we are just sitting on a secret, and we're like, when the secret gonna pop? When the secret gonna pop about Melissa? But Danielle doesn't do it there at breakfast. She's just trying to eat her breakfast here. So they switch gears over to Jennifer. And, Jennifer, she is sticking up for Danielle. She's sticking up for Danielle. Jennifer, she found herself a little ally. And, Marge, she doesn't like that Danielle talks behind her back. I mean, y'all, all these girls talk about each other behind their backs. It's like, why are they all so confused? You not know where you guys are. We are in the Real Housewives of New Jersey. So y'all better be talking about behind each other's backs. Come on. So breakfast is over and the girls head out to go do some shopping. So the girls, they talk about how their husbands get jealous. And I thought this was a cute little conversation. And I like that we have Jen Fessler once again opening up and being real with us. We getting to know Jen Fessler, because I feel like this is now the Jen Fessler show, the Real Housewife of Jen Fessler. So we learned that Jen Fessler's husband cheated, and so that meant that they separated. But then she actually got to kind of miss him a little bit, and they came back to each other, and only Jen is really opening up in this whole season so far. I feel like we learned so much about Jen Fessler, and she's just a friend of, like, damn, you don't have to do that much. I hope they're paying you for this, because you're doing a lot for just friend of position, okay? Unless you're trying to get, like, I don't know, you're trying to get yourself a spot. But I don't mind. I like what Jen Fessler has to say. So that leads that, and I like this because, when one opens up, the other one wants to open up. So then we got Dolores. Dolores, she talks about going through cheating with Frank. And, she would hate that her and Frank would go back and forth about him cheating, not cheating, when she would smell the other girl's perfume on him. Like, Frank, just be honest about it. That's what she wanted from him. And, Marge, she also opens up and she says that, even though she's the one who cheated, it's like there's a bond that you have with your partner. And she always wanted to remain close to her ex-husband, because you can't really replace that history that y'all have with each other. So back to Dolores. Dolores, she even asked Frank if he think he could ever stay faithful, because she feels like she would have been able to move forward if Frank was able to be honest with himself and be honest with Dolores. And he said, which is actually great that he didn't, try to sweep this under the rug. He says that he can't stay faithful. So, given that, Dolores had to move on, and she felt that, if she stayed with Frank, her kids would have been different. And that's such a dangerous game to play. I feel like everything that will be. Let it go, Dolores. It's okay. So Teresa, she opens up and she talks. Well, we know this is nothing new, except what she said at the end. Teresa said that she would have never thought she would have ended up in divorce, but when her mother died after the legal issues that she had with her and her husband, with a whole bunch of other people at that time, that the relationship was done. Like, when she died, when her mother died, I felt like it seems like Teresa heart broke, and she didn't feel anything for her husband. But she gave it some time. She considered waiting when Joe got out of jail to see if she would feel something, to see if they could proceed with this marriage. But she said she didn't, and that she maintains a relationship for the kids. And even more so, Louis has been nothing but instrumental for helping their relationship stay good. So now they're all good, which is good, because, those kids, they love their father. I mean, things happen, life, takes place. And like I said before, everything that will be, okay? So the girls are having this moment, and I don't know why. Rachel, they said Rachel was a fan, so she knows this information. I mean, at this point, we all know this information. This is nothing under the sun. Like, this is not hidden information. So I don't understand why Rachel felt the need to ask if Teresa's kids are close with Melissa's kids. Because, Rachel, she got a good memory. Rachel is the type of girly that, she can be in the conversation as C. Like, for example, let me get straight. So let's say A and B. A is Teresa, B is Melissa. A and B can be having a conversation in front of C. C is Rachel. So C is witnessing what A and B is saying, and that after some point, A and B, they forget all the things that they say. They don't keep track of everything that's been said. So C takes it upon themselves to interject, to say, oh, remember when B said this? Oh, remember when A said this? I felt like this is what Rachel was doing. I felt like, Rachel, you knew the answer to your question. I feel like Melissa probably had this talk with you before and have shared some information about maybe Melissa saying to her kids that they're not the reason that the family fight, and that, this is just between the adults, the kids are not involved. So why would Rachel go ask and make the kids involved as a topic of conversation? Because even if you know that this relationship is struggling, I don't think it was wise to bring up the kids. So Rachel, she thought it was a great idea and great for bonding for her to ask Teresa if her kids are close to Melissa's kids. And Teresa goes and she says that, Antonia, Mrs. Melania, Sweet 16. And oh my God, Mama Bear Melissa, as she should, said, don't you bring up my kids. Don't you talk about my kids. But then they kind of went tit for tat a little bit by saying, Melissa, she brings up how Teresa kids miss Gino's communion. And it's like, come on. I'm like, y'all really. Ugh! Oh my God. Let's not bring the kids into this, okay? And I feel like both of them were in the wrong for that. But Rachel did really set Teresa up. And because Teresa's not going to back down and not answer a question. You give Teresa a spotlight, homegirl going to shine in that spotlight. So that could either set her up to win or set her up to fail. But I felt like Teresa, nah, man, you shouldn't have brought up the kids. The kids are off limits. So the girls have arrived to the city and they're going to do some shopping. So I'm excited because I like to see the girls, what they're going to buy, what they're going to spend. And, the girls, they break up in their groups and they vent in their groups. So Danielle, she is with Jen and they are sitting there kikiing, just sitting on this secret. And I'm like, it's going to get out. It's going to get out. And interesting enough, Jennifer says that she didn't tell Teresa this information. And I feel like this is just to protect Teresa in a way. Because why do you feel the need to mention that to Danielle? Why does Danielle need that piece of information? I feel like she's kind of organizing this, this setup. I feel like, Danielle, be careful not to be the fall guy in this situation. Because Jennifer is giving you this tea. So we're going to see how you're going to deal, how you're going to manage. Are you going to drop the bomb when Marge does something to you? And then you're going to take the fall for it, leaving kind of Teresa innocent and Jennifer innocent too, because Jennifer said not to say anything. And that honestly, she kind of baited you to kind of have some interest to know what the tea is. So it's really going to fall on Danielle. Danielle's going to look like the bad guy. So Melissa, she is with Marge in their little group. And, Melissa is venting. And, I feel for Melissa. Because Melissa, she's very valid to feel like, this was enough. For Teresa to talk about her daughter and saying the issues about the family and how the kids are not being separated. And that's on Melissa. That's too much. Melissa nearly cried when she saw Teresa's girls at the housewarming party. She cried. Melissa feels like she tried. And, she tries in her own ways. I felt like it got messy between the two of them. But, y'all, you see, this is the final straw for Melissa. Melissa is over it. Melissa is really over it. Now, back over to Teresa. Now, Teresa in her little group. She's talking with Rachel. She's with Jen Fessler. And Teresa says that, she's going to answer a question honestly. But the girls, Dolores especially, Dolores feels like kids are off limits. And which is so right. Kids are off limits, period. And back over to Melissa and Marge. Melissa, she tells Marge that she feels she's at the end of Teresa. And we see it. You could see it. You could read it off Melissa's body language. She feels like, this is it. And she actually refers back to Teresa conflict with her cousins, Kathy and the other, I forgot the other one, Kathy and Rosie. Her issue with Kathy and Rosie, and where Teresa says that she needs to cut the cancer. Melissa feels like she needs to cut the cancer, and she is done with Teresa. She's done with Tree. She's done with Tree, y'all. So the girls, they gather back together for lunch. And the topic of discussion, which, I'm actually excited. We talk about Mr. Paul. And the topic of the conversation is how the girls think that he's gonna propose to Dolores quite soon. They ask Dolores have he shown her any rings, and it comes up how the kids feel, and the kids want Dolores to be happy. Everyone wants Dolores to be happy. I want Dolores to win. So Dolores, we learned that Dolores, she lives with Polly, and of course she knows that kitchen like from the palm of her hand. Like, she was in that kitchen. You saw her in that space. That was her space, okay? Now I need to see what closet space that Mr. Paul gave her, okay? So Dolores, she kind of wants to just elope, but Mr. Paul, he wants to do a 4-day thing. And that brings up to Teresa. Teresa brings up her wedding and how, Louis wants to do a whole to-do. But it's a bit awkward because, remember, she just had a fight with Melissa and they are not good. Melissa's all the way at the end and Melissa is like done and over. So the girls, they get home and Melissa calls her husband and brings up what Teresa said about Antonia. And, Melissa, she is fed up, fired up, letting Joe hear what his sister had said about her. And, she feels like, she and Joe do not belong in that wedding. So she doesn't want to be a part of that wedding at all. This was like the final, probably the nail in the coffin. But Joe is saying to her that, this is what she wants. This is what she wants. She wants us to look bad. And I'm like, what is this? Like a PR? What is this? Like, what in the TMZ is this? Like, are we plotting and planning what the PR, what the public relations gonna think about this? And all I can think of is Garcelle. When Garcelle read Miss Thing. What's Miss Thing name? Erica Jane. When she read Miss Erica and said that you do that on your own. And honey, that's the real tea. No one can make it look bad. You do that on your own. So the girls, they head right back out for dinner. And I'm like, wait a minute. That was quick. That was a quick turnaround. We just had lunch. I thought we just had lunch. So now we're getting another eating scene. And this eating scene was a little bit interesting for me because I felt like Jen Fessler and Jennifer was really our Jennifers from the block were giving in this scene. Jen Fessler, she was giving cleavage. And honestly, y'all, I like a moment with Jen Fessler. She was really saving this episode for me. The episode was being saved by Jen Fessler. And Jen Fessler, this is her first time as a friend of. She's doing a great job. So the girls talk about the boobs and the boobies. And Danielle, she is so funny. I'm like, okay, finally a funny moment with Danielle. I was kind of missing that. I felt like Danielle was caught up too much with this beef. Like, we're missing the funny Danielle. So Danielle, she opens up and says she had tubular boobies. And I thought that was so funny. The whole imagery of that was hilarious. And, the girls are laughing, having fun. And I got excited because Jennifer Aiden, she mentioned that she wants to host the girls in Turkey. And I'm like, that's a brilliant idea. I would love to see that. Jennifer will go all out too. Jennifer is the hostess with the mostest. I would like an invite. I want to be hosted by Jennifer. I want to be hosted by Jennifer Aiden, y'all. I would love to see it. So hopefully we look forward to that next season. I think we secured a spot for Miss Jennifer Aiden next season. That clocked in. Girl, you clocked in. So Danielle and Rachel, they seem to be getting along. But then all of a sudden, Rachel, let me tell you how, it wasn't all of a sudden. Danielle, she was trying to be nice. Danielle was trying to say, oh, you could have got ready in my bathroom. I could have lent you my bathroom. And Rachel says, like, no, you called me a rat. No. And, it turns into a whole argument in a restaurant, y'all. People are eating at this restaurant. This is an establishment, okay? Not endorsed by the Real Housewives of New Jersey, okay? And Jennifer, she jumps in and she's trying to stop the girls from fighting. And since Marge jumped in, Jennifer's gonna jump in. So Jennifer, she jumps in and she wants Margaret to not be so upset about the whole situation because no one thinks you're a saint. And she's right. She's valid. Jennifer, she's quite reasonable. And, Marge, she standing up for herself, and she kind of sees like the why she can't see why Jennifer keeps getting into it, but Jennifer points out that she had made some harsh comments about her, and Marge, she did apologize. She made up for it. The comments about calling, kind of saying the comments about her smoking Mary Jane and how she abuses it. And Marge, she does apologize. But then a whole comment just gets thrown out there. And Jennifer, she calls Marge a booger wolf. And I'm like, a booger wolf? I said, what is that? These girls are like, what is that? And luckily, Melissa, she looks up what a booger wolf is. She asks Siri. And it's in Webster. Booger wolf is in Webster. And it's an adjective. And once we learn the meaning of what a booger wolf is, I'm like, oof. She just called Marge an ugly little being. And Jen Fessler, she kills it. Ending scene. And she said in her confessionals, pretty much calling Jennifer Aiden giving a rehearsed read. And I just died laughing. Not a rehearsed read. Like, everyone feel like Jennifer Aiden was waiting to use this word. She was waiting for her moment. Waiting. And even if she did wait it came out great. I loved it. I ate it up. Will I be using the term booger wolf? Yes. Will y'all be using the term booger wolf? Yes. So I would say that, Jen Fessler, she really killed this episode. And, all the others did have their shine. But I felt like I would rate this episode a 7.9. But I would give Jen Fessler a 10. And now we have to wait for the next episode to see what comes about this booger wolf situation. So if you like this episode, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I hope you guys enjoyed this recap, and I'll see you soon. And don't forget, share as much kindness as possible. Bye-bye.